All right, today we are diving into a really cool and honestly a kind of counterintuitive new idea in AI code generation. It's an approach that completely flips the script on how we think AI should create code, and it turns what looks like a weakness into a massive strength. So, let's get into it.
To really wrap your head around this, you've got to start with this question. What if an AI wrote code the same way you or I would write an essay? You know, not just spitting out a perfect final version in one shot, but going through that kind of messy, iterative process, drafting, rewriting, refining, until it's just right.
And that right there, that's our first big idea, building an AI process that feels a lot more human. It sounds simple, but it has some seriously powerful advantages.
Now, okay, the technical name for this is discrete diffusion. Don't worry about the jargon. All it really means is that instead of the AI starting from, like, total randomness, it begins with an outline that you give it, maybe a function signature and a couple of notes. From there, it just refines it step by step, filling in the details until you have a polished final draft.
So the process works exactly like this. The AI starts with your spec, your outline. Then it just starts filling in the gaps, kind of like fleshing out a bullet point list. It'll then go back and refine the words and phrases that are already there, and boom, eventually you get a finished piece of code. It's all iterative, just like actual writing.
So because this whole process is exploratory, right, it doesn't just produce one single answer. It naturally spits out a whole bunch of different possible versions of the code along the way. Some might be simpler, some more complex, but they all evolve from that one starting point.
And that, of course, leads to the million-dollar question. If you've got dozens of potential solutions floating around, how in the world do you know which one actually works? Which one gets the job done?
Well, that brings us to the second part of this. And honestly, this is the most brilliant piece of the puzzle. It's what's called the test-guided insight. This is the absolute game changer.
So here's the big idea. You use a set of tests that you've already written for your code. But, and this is the crucial part, instead of stopping the second you find the first piece of code that passes those tests, you just keep going. You generate tons of versions, run all of them against the tests, and you collect every single one that passes. The tests become a filter for quality, not just a stop sign.
And this comparison just makes it so clear. Traditional AI generation, it's a straight line. Generate something, test it, and the moment it works, you stop. You're done. This test-guided approach is all about exploring. Generate a whole bunch of options, test all of them, and then you get to pick the absolute best one from a pool of already correct answers.
So why is this so powerful? I mean, why does this matter? Well, because correct isn't always the same thing as good. This method lets you pick a solution based on things that tests can't really measure. Like, is it readable? Is the style elegant? Is the performance better? You get to see a whole range of valid solutions, and a human can actually make the final call on which one is truly the best fit.
Okay, so it's a really smart, elegant technical idea. But now let's talk about where it gets really practical. Let's talk about the money.
Because this isn't just a clever way to generate code. It is a profoundly, dramatically cheaper way to do it. And in the world of AI, as we all know, cost is king.
Just look at the tail of the tape here. The big, powerful reasoning models are incredibly expensive. We're talking $15 to $60 per million tokens. They work like a mysterious black box on a single track. The diffusion approach? It uses much, much cheaper models. You can see every single step of the process, and it's embarrassingly parallel, which just means you can run dozens, even hundreds of attempts all at the same time for pennies. To put that into perspective, think about this. Say your budget is just $1. With the expensive reasoning model, you get maybe one shot, one attempt. You just have to cross your fingers and hope it works. For that exact same dollar, the test-guided diffusion approach gets you 10, 20, maybe more parallel attempts, all exploring different solutions. It's not even a fair fight.
So all of this brings us to our final and I think most profound takeaway here. We really need to rethink what AI is actually doing under the hood today. Because, I mean, let's just be real for a minute. The current state of AI, one way or another, is brute force, right? We throw unbelievable amounts of data and compute at a problem until something that looks intelligent pops out the other side. The magic is just in the sheer scale of it all.
So what we really have are two kinds of brute force. The big reasoning models, they hide their brute force search inside an expensive, opaque black box. You pay for all of it, but you can't see it, you can't control it. This diffusion approach makes the brute force obvious. It's explicit. The search happens out in the open,
across all these different visible paths. You only pay for what you actually use, and you have total control. It's a transparent white box.
Which really brings us to this perfect little summary. If it's all just brute force anyway, let's stop paying a huge premium for the mysterious, hidden kind and start using the cheap, controllable, and much more intelligent kind. Let's brute force intelligently.
And that's the thought I really want to leave you with. Is it possible that the most practical way forward for AI isn't really about chasing some kind of magical, human-like reasoning inside a black box, but is actually about perfecting the art of massive, cheap, and intelligently guided trial and error? Something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.